Donk Nation, Jax and Janet's greetings and welcome to your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. It's your boy, the Viking Donkey, bringing you some Steelers talk. We got Laskers, we got Gingy, and we got a rarity for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a dominating win of a lesser opponent, 32-13 win over the Raiders. Man, that's how you're supposed to do it if you're a good team, right, Gingy?
Woot woot, Mutant Gingy in the house. Yeah, 30-point game. And you know what? What fired it up? Okay. Running
TJ
game.
Watt and the Zebras.
Finally a running game. Let's go.
That did happen.
That's what that offense can do when it actually has premier looking back, right? Not saying NYJ's premier after one game, but listen, that was a premier game. That's what you'd expect from a guy on a consistent basis.
Dominating performance against, let's be honest, Laskers here, an undermanned Raiders team who most people weren't expecting much out of anyway because their roster wasn't really good to begin with. I mean, let's be honest here. Their second best defensive player is Bobby Spillane. That dude wasn't even, I mean, he was fun to watch as a Steeler, but that dude at best is fringe NFL starter caliber. He's their second best player. This is a lesser opponent. This is what you should do. Who cares if you needed the help of the officials on some Gingy is going to get into this one. Gingy loves hard-nosed football, and that game was the opposite of hard-nosed football with those penalties, man. I don't even know if you can call it football anymore, Laskers.
I agree, but hey, did you see the Jets-Bills game where Rodgers that wasn't a QB, whatever the hell, the QB
roughing
thing.
The passer.
roughing the passer. And he's like, this league's went soft.
It certainly has. I'm not saying that I understand the letter of the law, but when that guy's tackling Justin Fields that way, how'd you land any other way? Takes away Justin Fields' terrible interception. Huge for the Steelers. And the second one, dude, I'm still watching that play and trying to figure out what the dude who got called for the penalty did. Like, you're allowed to touch the quarterback in the head as long as it's not forcible. And that was nowhere near forcible. I have nothing to say about that. The thing that took off the Raiders' touchdown on the ineligible downfield, man, that was about as iffy as you can get. But I'm not here to complain about that. The Steelers put up 30 points. The Steelers do what they should do against a lesser opponent. The passing game was terrible. We'll get to that later. The running game was great. And, dude, TJ Watt might just be an MVP candidate. He single-handedly shut down the Raiders every time the Steelers needed it to happen. And Gingy, you got to admit, that puts a guy in the conversation, right? I know it's a quarterback award, but can a defender get in the conversation?
It has to be more. It has to be consistent across a whole bunch of games. I don't think it should be that way, but it does for a defensive player. But listen, he's in that talk. Listen, the only other defensive player, I mean, there's a few of them, right? But the most recent one that comes to mind is Aaron Donald. When we talk about the takeover of a game, right? TJ Watt is that caliber of defender. Okay, he can completely take over the game single-handedly by himself, right? And that defense was on point. But again, lesser opponent, lesser offense, Aiden O'Connell, blah, blah, blah. But nice to see an execution.
That dude proved why he was the backup, I think. My God, he did not look NFL starter.
It's nice to see him execute, though, Donkey.
It was a fantastic game. That's the game you want to see. TJ Watt making up for some shortcomings on the goal line stand. I mean, giving up 20 points to the Raiders would have been embarrassing. But to be fair, the Raiders, with a lot more healthy players, beat the Baltimore Ravens. So there is a little fight in them when they're fully healthy. Maybe the one area for concern for me, Gingy, on the defense was the Raiders have a bunch of backup linemen coming, and there just didn't seem to be real pressure on the quarterback. That is a little area of concern for me. And, of course, area of concern, too, is, Jesus Christ, if the team has a tight end, we cannot stop him. I mean, Brock Bowers did whatever the hell he wanted the whole damn game, Gingy.
Yeah, that's pretty much standard is the standard, right? Non-stop.
I love how this show I love how on this show that has just become synonymous with, well, we play shitty football because we accept shitty football. Like, that's literally what it's become on this show, and I am for it. Just so we're clear.
I mean, proof is
it's
in
our
the pudding,
coach's
right?
standard.
No, listen, right? I mean, always been gashed up the middle. Always had
Yeah.
a tight end. I don't know if it's definitely a scheme problem, right? I don't think it could be a personnel. I just don't think 3-4 lines up well against that, right? It's not that, I don't know. Do
Baltimore
you think that that's,
disagrees.
yeah,
When you beat
okay,
Baltimore,
they
it's
still
normally
get
wide
gashed in the middle.
receivers that
They still
torch
get
them.
gashed in the middle, right?
It's normally wide receivers who torch Baltimore, not tight ends and running backs.
Okay, right? I hear ya.
But they play a little different. Laskers, before we finish on the defense, I have to say it because I've been begging for frickin' 6 weeks. Patrick Queen finally had a good football game. Thank Jesus. Is that momentum going to carry forward?
I hope so, but only time will tell.
Now, Gingy, we're going to rotate from the defense to the special teams here. Jeremiah Moon didn't really do much on defense, but boy, oh boy, as Micah likes to say, the Pittsburgh Steelers came through the middle like a hurricane and blocked that punt. Jeremiah Moon making himself known to Steelers Nation in his first game in black and gold. Had to love to see that, right?
Hey, for as much as as this show has in the past perhaps talked negatively about massive bubblegum chew and Danny Smith, his squad still comes up with splash plays.
Yes. Gingy, that's my rotation to the offense. We had splash on defense, we had splash on special teams, and we had a 30-yard splash by Najee Harris? Gingy, this is the guy everybody expects every week out of the first round running back, but we see it once a year. Was this the only time we're going to see it this year? And if so, you had to enjoy it, right?
Let's hope not, right, Donkey? You know I love that. That massive Superman leap into the end zone. Oh, oh,
Yeah,
loved it.
Mason McCormick adding a little tenacity to this offensive line is what Broderick Jones says. He says he upholds the standard for him because he's just a mean beep the beep beep beep. But injury front, the running game potentially takes a big hit here. I know McCollum played pretty good when he went in, but Zach Frazier probably out to at least the bye week, starting center for the Steelers. Just not allowed to have nice things on the offensive line, Laskers.
Oh, we definitely are not allowed to have nice things on the offensive line. And it's going to be tough, especially if we decide to start Russ, because I don't see him being able to maneuver like Justin can.
No, and that's a huge part of what this offense was successful. There were 3 or 4 plays on each scoring drive where the play didn't happen. Justin Fields happened, especially that last running touchdown he had, the second of his two. That's just Justin Fields, okay? And Russell Wilson isn't going to do just Justin Fields. Russell Wilson isn't going to outrun the outside linebacker to the pylon to score a touchdown, Gingy. And with the rumors being the leak from George Pickens that Russell Wilson's going to come in, do you think that Justin Fields, personally to you, did enough to maintain the quarterback job? Because what I'll say is, as a runner, he looked really good. As a passer, and I'm going to say this again, he's gotten progressively worse, and the upside hasn't been seen in the last couple games. And he had a bad turnover that was saved by a dumb penalty by the Raiders. But the passing hasn't been there for Justin Fields. That's probably the only negative from this game, Gingy.
Well, the good part about this whole experience, Donkey, is because I think you really know what you got from one of those quarterbacks, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of changing up this thing mid-season.
Me neither.
But again, we've got 2 quarterbacks, and we really know we have a really good sample set on one of them. And I really don't know what the other one is capable of. I understand we're talking about limited mobility, maybe increased accuracy, maybe not. All that speculation.
Definitely quicker to the check down.
And there's
which is Arthur Smith.
And I was going to say, and that might not necessarily hurt this team. I've seen instances in which Justin Fields ran like 1.5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage and launched the ball when he could have had an easy check down. So, like, I'm not going to say that's the worst in all scenarios. I'd like to see what it looks like, but I'm not. I mean, Right, you can't have the best of both worlds, but I'm disappointed that it's got to come as experiment in the middle of the season.
I hear you, and I'm going to go to Laskers after this point. And I said this from the get-go. Justin Fields is like the McLaren that you don't use as a commuter car, and the Steelers are a commuter offense. I don't think he fits what they want to do. I think they're limiting what Justin Fields is good at by this safe offense. I think it's more built towards Russell Wilson. I think it's always been built towards Russell Wilson. Does not mean I think Russell Wilson will be more effective in it, but I think the chance for this team to be more consistent is Russell Wilson. I'm not going to say better because I personally don't think he's going to make this team better. We'll see. But Laskers, what I want to get to here is you had a quarterback that went 4-2 in 6 games, a lot of road games in there, a weird Monday night loss that was just that game was odd. The Indy loss that I'm going to say was on the defense because heaven forbid they had a bad game. Before Gingy jumps on me, they had a bad game. They're allowed to have a bad game, Gingy, but that Indy game was on them. So you're talking a quarterback who's played the system exactly the way he was told to. My problem here is if Russell Wilson comes in and Russell Wilson is washed, what the hell is it going to do to that locker room if he comes in and loses a couple games? Because it's going to be hard to go back to Justin Fields. It's going to be hard for Justin Fields to feel like he isn't on a short leash. And you for sure lose Russell Wilson if you only give him 2 starts and then bench him. I just hate the timing of this because there's 2 big negatives on this season. Those are the negatives I'm saying. But if Justin Fields is your future quarterback, he goes 4-2 for you, and you stop playing him, why the hell would he want to stay here, Laskers?
I have no reason he'd want to stay. I think it's a terrible idea. Yes, he hasn't played to his potential, and he even admitted that. He's
passing numbers suck.
He's basically said, I haven't played good enough to be the quarterback. Basically saying, he's basically saying he hasn't played good enough to not have this controversy. And I think it's a terrible idea to switch. If we switch, and I said this to you, Donkey, I hope we get fucking blown out. I really do. I think it's a terrible time to switch. 4-2, that's a great start to a season when we were, originally thinking, if we're lucky, we'll be 3-3 at this point, maybe 2-4, I think it's a terrible time to switch. He hasn't played the best, but he's mobile. He needs to dial in the accuracy a little bit more. He needs to do some stuff, but hey, we're winning.
His athleticism, Gingy, has definitely been on full showcase. They're not playing to his strengths with all these short intermediate passes. That's not what Justin Fields is. But Gingy, you mentioned some things going in the short term. Do you think if this change that's reportedly going to happens, do you think this hurts the Steelers' prospects of keeping Justin Fields long term if that was their goal?
I can't speculate one way or the other. I mean, honestly, it really depends on what you're doing. Is this a one and done with Russ, right? Because if he performs well, which would put the Steelers again in a position with playoff implications, whatever. But if he performs well, then he gets paid somewhere else, and that would leave Justin Fields. So again, I'm not really finding. And if Russell Wilson
he performs well,
poorly,
you just franchise tag him, right? He's old. You don't give him long term. You just franchise tag him every year.
Yeah, well, that's way expensive for a quarterback. I disagree with franchise tagging a quarterback at this point. That's way too expensive.
If it's a young guy,
no one's going to sign him long term.
You have to remember the franchise tag is just the average top 5 of that year, right? Of the previous year. So you're not even including the new quarterback contracts that are going to get more and more expensive every year. So it doesn't cost you much. I mean, you could say, well, the holdout potential is huge on that, but we don't even need to get into that because honestly, I have a hard time foreseeing Russell Wilson putting up the kind of numbers that are going to make him into a franchise taggable quarterback. I think you're going to see the Steelers do this borderline thing where we do every year, right? We're going to put up a good record, and I still don't think, even with Russ, this team's competitive against great football teams because there's just so much weakness. Even the Raiders game, it was a great game. It was nice to be comfortable. It was nice to not have to feel the lesser opponent was going to come beat us like we did in Dallas, right? It was nice to feel this game is firmly in control. But man, if you're going to sit here, watch that game, and be like, that team is a fundamentally great football team, I'm going to laugh in your face. Because, again, we had penalties that just shouldn't happen. Again, our high money pass rush only got home once. Again, we're just coming up short on covering tight ends. Luckily, the Raiders are a bad team. We exploited that. We did what we needed to do. Aiden O'Connell's not an NFL starting level quarterback. You do what you do. And it is a great game. I loved the game. I enjoyed it. But let's start transitioning to this Jets game and a team that has more assets available to exploit weaknesses in a team. And specifically, before we get into the Jets game, I'm going to let you two have your closing thoughts on the Raiders game. How about the wide receiver trade market going off, and why are the Steelers not involved here? Devontae Adams going to the Jets, and when the Buffalo Bills hear that, they're like, okay, well, we're going to go get Amari Cooper. My goodness gracious, receivers are moving. They're on the fly. Pittsburgh needs one. When's it coming to town, Gingy? And who's it going to be?
Well, from what I remember, Donkey, you must be happy that Devontae didn't come here. I'm not certain that you were entirely for that.
30 Hold on.
Amari?
I said $30 million a year is expensive if you plan on keeping him. And I said if it was less than a second-round pick, which, by the way, it was a third-round pick, I said I'd be all over that. It was less than a second. Should have been all over it.
Where's the Jets come in at in terms of that money? But Amari, they
restructured his contract. Don't ask me to do what, but it got restructured.
That's the misfortune of where he's coming from, right? Cleveland Browns aren't ever going to trade that within the division. Okay,
curse of
we got to
Baker
wait for somebody
Mayfield.
else. Oh no! Say it ain't so, but it sure is looking that way, isn't it?
Hey, you trade Baker, who beat your all-time rival in the playoffs. You get rid of him for Marshawn Watson, who even the team who helped him get away with all his fancy massages didn't want anymore, man. And then you pay him a fully guaranteed contract. You get what you deserve, and I couldn't be happier for them.
I mean, I feel the same way. They brownied it up.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for getting rid of that fiery Baker Mayfield who won a playoff game against us. I appreciate that. But the wide receiver market, Gingy, do you think the Steelers will get involved, and do you think there's a guy they could get?
I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else available, but I think they need it. I do think they need another guy.
Still my hope. DeAndre Hopkins is still my hope.
I'm okay with that. I am honestly okay with that, and he's rotten down in Tennessee, so...
Because unless Russell Wilson comes in and cooks with these wide receivers, right? Dude, do we have a wide receiver who's above a wide receiver 4 on this roster not named George Pickens?
No. Calvin Austin has a big playability, but it's not anything consistent enough to even consider
like
the
what
two.
A number 4
it's more like a gimmick.
Is, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Like
you're right. I was
just
going to say it's not a 3 slot. It's like a gimmick 4.
Plays.
Yep.
Comes in, has his little gadget plays. You know,
where's your boy Scotty Miller?
Guy.
Where's your boy Scotty Miller? You going to give him the 4 slot too? That's disrespectful.
Since no one ever plays him, I'm just going to assume he's a number 4. When he gets on the field, he produces like a number 2, but no one ever puts him on the field. So there must be something no one sees, right?
Okay, now he produces like a number 2. I hope your boy Scotty Miller heard you call him a 4.
I hope he heard me call him a 6, because apparently that's what he is on the Steelers. He gets less wide receiver slots than frickin' Baby Hayward, dude. Baby Hayward gets more wide receiver snaps than Scotty frickin' Miller.
Unfortunately, Baby Hayward puts him on the ground.
Yeah, and he gets more wide receiver snaps than Scotty Miller. So I don't know what the hell, dude. If you catch the football, if you're productive, you don't get to play football is the way the Pittsburgh Steelers go on the wide receiver room. Is all I have to say, man.
Pickens don't need to catch them all if he continues to talk. He can't have any. That's becoming a pattern.
What, we drafting prima donnas who put up one good season, we say they're the next coming, and then they just fall off the edge of a cliff? I mean, it's like Chase Claypool happened all over again, isn't it?
Well, he's getting a little dropsy.
Chase Claypool. Remember Claypool's second year or his first year, dude? We all thought he was going to be the next world burner. And then the year after, we were like, man, we're a bunch of idiots. And then the Bears gave us a second round pick. So I have no freaking clue what to say because, woohoo, best trade ever. Didn't that pick turn into Joey Porter Jr.?
It did.
Nice. All right, closing thoughts from you two on the Raiders game.
Good thing we won.
Yeah, and
spanked that butt, Laskers.
I'm stoked about the running game. I want to look up something real quick here because I want to draw
7 yards of carry from NYJ.
That's what it was. 7.6. Donkey.
Yep.
That is. It's remarkable. That's where I'd love to see. I think that's an astounding game, but boy, let's split the difference, right, between 2.5 and 7.6, right? 4.5 to 5. Can we at least have consistency at that level?
I highly doubt it because most teams in the NFL don't tackle like they're playing high school football. But we do have a couple more of those on the schedule, specifically not this week, but next week with the Giants with all their injuries. They are a team that's very suspect to a big running football game. The Jets, a little more consistent. You know, Robert Saleh coached them good before he got fired. Playing a team that's 2-4 with a coach that just got fired is a little odd. They were 2-3 when they fired the coach, only one game out of the division. You got Ulbrich taking over, the defensive coordinator. Nathaniel Hackett gets demoted from play calling duties on the offensive side, so new play calls there. They bring in Devontae Adams. This Jets team, a little unique here. They expected to have Hassan Reddick. They don't. And let's get ready for the Steelers to take on this 2-4 Jets team. Let's talk about the history of this. The Steelers are 20-7 all time in this series. That includes 2-0 in the playoffs. At home, they're 10-2. On the road, they're 10-5. The largest win ever was Pittsburgh by 28 points. Back in 1981, they won at 38-10. The Jets' biggest win was 7 points, 20-13. But in 2014, if you expect the Jets win, it's going to be by one score. Apparently, longest streak was the Steelers when they first played, won the first 9 games of this series. And that was from 1970 to 86. The Jets' longest is 2. They did in 07-10, and the current streak is 2 for the New York Jets. Last meeting was in October of 2022. The Jets beat the Steelers 24-20. I mean, you look at this Jets team, you look at what they've done. Aaron Rodgers has vastly underperformed what is expected of Aaron Rodgers. The running game has been explosive, but very limited and explosive, very limited, and vastly inconsistent. Well, that's what I guess you get with a guy like Breece Hall, a smaller guy who's really fast. Adding a new wide receiver who has history with Rodgers. Let's see what happens there. I mean, Lazard has been probably their best wide receiver, a guy who came over from Green Bay with Rodgers. Defensively, they're solid. I believe Mosley's still the guy in the middle. They're solid, but I don't know if great can be put on there. They're very Steeler-esque in a way, you know. They do a lot of things good. Wait. They do a lot of things average, but maybe one thing great, and that was the coverage. And I believe they have all their cornerbacks healthy this week. I know their main guy's been fighting with injuries. I have to think of that, what his name is. But really, Gingy, give a quick overview of what you expect to see in this game.
I'd like to see more of what I saw last week, plus a little bit of pass rush. Right? Let me take a look. Where are the Jets strong this year? That running game, they've got a solid young running back, even more so than Aaron Rodgers, really through the air. Seeing I hear Devontae's going to be on the field this weekend. That's quite a quick turnaround, right? So I'm interested to see what it's like.
His hamstring was healed by the time he got on the plane.
Sounds about right. But, I mean, seriously, it's interesting to prepare for the same wide receiver 2 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah.
Preparing for Devontae last week, preparing for Devontae this week. It's just crazy. I mean, you see that that him and Rodgers have chemistry. So I'm gonna really be looking at that's probably gonna be Joey Porter Jr. right there. Am I right?
And yeah, he's been struggling. I don't know who they're going to put Porter Jr. on. I'll say this. The Jets, while maybe not all these guys are producing, their wide receiver room is freaking deep, dude. They have Devontae Adams coming over, right? They have a first-round pick who's played, actually has their most receptions, and Garrett Wilson, a little fast guy, a little small guy, pretty good at it. Alan Lazard's having a pretty good year out there. They traded for or signed Mike Williams in the offseason. If you remember him, he was about a 1,000-yard receiver with the Chargers with Justin Herbert. You're talking they can go 4 deep with number 2 talent wide receivers. I think Devontae finally gives them a legit number 1, but Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and Mike Williams are all arguably number 2 guys or have been within the last 2 years. This is a deep room. You add in some explosive playmakers and the running backs with Brees Hall and Braylon Allen, and you add in a pretty solid tight end in Tyler Conklin. The pass catching group here, Laskers, is pretty darn talented for the Jets.
Oh, the Jets are scary good in their wide receiver core. And if Devontae plays, which it's looking like he's going to play, I'm scared.
Now, they've had some big kicking issues here, Gingy. Zerline's only making 66% of his kicks. He's 8 of 12 on the season. Huge kicking issues going on there. Morstead's killing it punting, though he's averaging like 48 a punt, so not a big problem there. But the thing with the Jets is, dude, their offensive line sucks. There's no other way to say it. Their offensive line sucks. That should be a huge benefit for the Steelers, right?
Looking to get that pass rush kick back up, that's for sure. That's the bread and butter right there. And what is it, 2 weeks in a row now? Not really that present. 3 makes it a pattern.
Yeah.
So that will be a problem. That will be a big problem. I really need to see them bounce back this week. Because, again, that's the bread and butter right there. That's what creates openings for Dante Jackson to do what he's been doing so far this year. Without that consistent pressure up front, those guys in the back get really hosed.
Yeah, that's true. Lassers, anything you're really looking at offensively with the Jets that scares you? And do you think Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson will both have to take naps because this is a Sunday Night Football game if they start?
They're going to take naps during the 4 o'clock game.
I might take a nap.
Even if I go to the game, I'm taking a nap at halftime.
I guarantee I'm not making it through the whole game. So,
yeah,
that's why I'm not going to the game.
When you get to the Jets on defense, Gingy, there's some talent out there. I mean, Chuck Clark's a guy who we've seen before. I believe he was in Baltimore for a long time. Has played really good. They got the Williams dudes, Quincy and Quinnen, up there in the middle. C.J. Mosley, I don't know if he's healthy or not, but I mean, Sherwood's been a good tackler for him this year. Sauce Gardner has struggled this year in coverage, but historically has been a guy who's absolutely shut down. And you look at guys like that, you look around, I mean, Brandon Eccles, they have a defense that is very capable of shutting down another team's offense. We've seen them be good this year. That's what kept the Jets in a lot of games where Aaron Rodgers has been overly pressured and turned the ball over. Do you think that if this is the spot to put Russ in, do you think this was the team to do it against, or should we have done it last week against the Raiders and let Russ get rolling a little bit before he plays a real defense?
Was Russ actually injured? That's my issue. Was Russ really ready last week?
He was ready last week for sure.
Yeah, supposedly he was active.
He was the second quarterback last week. He was the third quarterback the week before, and they wanted to play him, but they weren't allowed to because he was only the emergency third quarterback. That's why Kyle Allen came in and completed the pass. So he's been ready to go the last 2 weeks. I think if you were going to make this change, it should have happened against the Raiders personally, Gingy. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if that was indeed the case, if you're going to make that change, I would do it sooner. Again, one of the things we were talking about earlier, timing, right? Now you're 4-2. Now you're tied at the top of the division, a third of the way through the season. You got to figure it out by the bye week. You got to figure it out by the bye week. Period.
A couple things before I get into cash or trash I want to break down of AFC North things that I thought was unique. How about the Bengals winning a game where they don't score any damn points after everyone's ripping on their defense? Kind of unique to see, right? 2, do you think the Baltimore Ravens lose another game before the end of the season? Lasker's Gingy. Gingy's like, yeah, 2 to the Steelers. I know what he's thinking.
Here. Absolutely. I'm not sold. Derrick Henry's a house over there, but
dude,
if you battle them to the end,
what is he, 32? He's still faster than freaking Najee Harris at 32, dude. That's nuts.
Yeah, he is too. He's a house. He's tearing it up over there. But I'm still not sold on their longevity. I've still seen Lamar Jackson overthrowing people in certain situations. It's not. I don't know. He's such a double-edged sword.
Lamar is never a quarterback who's going to be perfect. He's just a quarterback you hope makes more good throws than bad throws because his athleticism. Not even more, you hope he makes as many good throws as bad throws because if he does, his athleticism wins him every game at that point, right?
That's right.
And
my comment on that is it's going to depend on who they play the rest of the season, and I'm not going to look at their schedule.
They already played the Chiefs.
But the Commanders actually did put up a fight.
Dude, I'll say this, man.
They're probably best team in that division.
We hired the wrong former head coach as our OC because damn, does that Kingsbury offense look awesome with Jaden Daniels? That's what it is, right?
Could look awesome with Justin Fields.
Oh, I know they're so similar. Just dream of what could have happened if we would have just had the Mike Tomlinism version of it. But that Commanders team, man, what a
best team in that division
them.
Right now. Yeah.
What a turnaround for them. And then let's end with this one. Do either of you think Kevin Stefanski is allowed to bench Massage Watson?
No.
Yeah, this poor guy's up here answering questions about why he's not benching him, and the answer is very simple. Because the Haslams gave this dude a blank check, their seal of approval, and they told Stefanski that's your quarterback no matter what. That poor dude is just in a you're screwed situation, and he's going to get fired. He might as well just throw them all under the bus because it's not looking good for him staying with this guy.
Brown eat it up.
It's just, man. Hey, don't worry, their savior's back. We'll see if Nick Chubb is able to recover. He's supposed to play this week. Wish him nothing but the best after watching that. Man, you hate to see the knee injury he took against the Steelers last year. Don't want to see that to anyone, even if they are a Brown. But Chubb back on the field, that's a pretty cool thing to see this week. That's actually one of the things I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's the core of that
Browns thing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'll give you that's the core of that team, but I don't necessarily say I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be looking forward to see him chucking right up the middle versus us later on this year.
I'm looking forward to watching Massage Watson throw some lame ducks up there. Maybe Minka will get a goddamn INT.
Oh my god, maybe. maybe not.
Bright side for the Steelers. We talked about the Jets, what we're seeing there. There are some bright sides for the Steelers. Allegedly, our starting quarterback's going to be back. Russell Wilson. Woo, yay. Joy. Losing Frazier, obviously, bad news. But Alex Highsmith potentially coming back this week. Looks like he was a full participant almost all week in practice, so unless something crazy happens between now and game day, we should see Highsmith back on Sunday night. Do you think that will save the pass rush that has been lacking the last 2 weeks, Gingy?
I don't know. We're going to have to see. You mentioned earlier, most ugly quality of the Jets, offensive line. If they can't do it here, where are they going to do it at?
That's fair. We didn't do it against the Raiders, so I have no idea. But we did it early in the year, and TJ is capable of taking over a game all by himself, just like Aiden Hutchinson was. I mean, the dude had a 4-sack game, and man, I feel bad for Detroit. I feel bad for Hutchinson, was having such a great year, and to break his leg on a sack of Dak Prescott, man, that sucked. Speedy recovery to Aiden Hutchinson, and TJ Watt now the in-house leader for Defensive Player of the Year, right?
Absolutely. Let's go. So far through 6? Who else you got? Who else you got on the list?
Aiden Hutchinson was my pick, but he just broke his leg and's done for the year, so.
Yeah, like I said, sacks leaders, int leaders. I don't know. I'm not seeing any real competition on that.
The sack leader
but
was Hutchinson.
They love snubbing him.
Dude. Yeah, the Myles Garrett one I still don't get, but that is what it is. Let's make up stats to make someone look better than they are. Let's get to cash or trash. Let's start on offense. Let's start with Gingy. Justin Fields does get benched. We see Russell Wilson, and he throws for 250 yards, 2 touchies, and no INTs. Cash or trash?
No ins, 2 touchies.
250 on the yards. That might be the one that gets you.
That's what. Cash. I see it happening. Cash.
Let's go. When I seem to ask Laskers Najee Harris related questions, good things happen for Najee. So we're going to go there again. Laskers, Najee Harris over 100 yards with over 4 yards a carry. Cash or trash?
I'm going to cash that one in just because he's got to keep performing if he wants a contract next year.
Fair enough. Gingy, let's go to you. Let's go to George Pickens. The dude talks a good game, but hasn't backed it up recently. He's kind of been on the fence where to go, but it seems like he's leaning towards wanting Russ to play. He gets his wish. He gets 100 yards. He gets a touchdown. Cash or trash?
Cash that in. If I'm going 2 tuts and 250, that's got to be a part of that process.
Laskers, you get a question about the whole wide receiver room as a whole. Miko Pruitt might even be back this week. I don't remember. Do the tight ends amount 100 total yards between them? I don't care if they somehow get a reverse play in there. Connor Hayward carries the football. Don't care. They get 100 total yards and a touchdown. Cash or trash?
I'm going to trash that.
Fair enough. Gingy, we're going to end with you, and we're going to end with a real fun one. The offensive line has not played good football. Let's be honest here. I mean, the Raiders game did good run blocking, but the pass pro was still suspect at best. Russell Wilson's a lot more of a statue than Justin Fields. That amounts this week as the Steelers give up 5 sacks to a much maligned New York Jets pass rush that without Hassan Reddick, the big trade acquisition, hasn't really lived up to standards. So 5 sacks for the Jets. Cash or trash?
5?
Yeah, why not? It seems like a fun number.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the under. Trash that.
All right. Let's go to defense. Let's start with Laskers. Laskers, Highsmith is back. That's good for the pass rush. The Steelers get 4 or more sacks in this week. Cash or trash? Oh, wait. I messed that up. Before we get to that, closing thoughts on offense. Laskers, go.
I got no closing thoughts. I just hope we don't play Russ.
That is a good closing thought. Gingy, closing thought on the offense.
Well, closing thought on the offense is if Fields plays, we got to maintain the running consistency, and if Russ plays, we can get away with it if he picks up the passing game where Justin Fields was deficient. Okay, but we got to have one of the two. We can't just lay eggs. Okay, it's going to put strain on the defense. This offense really, really dominated the game last time on the field with the running game. Big play opportunity. We need to maintain the consistency. Cash that in.
Let's get to my closing thought. I like that, Gingy. I like that you cashed it in at the end too. I like tooting your own
fired
horn
up
there.
last week. I'm getting fired up by the offense. I saw 30 points last week. Okay.
You did. I loved that game. There's nothing to not love about it.
Fired up over here. Haven't had much to wave towel about here on that side of the ball.
Gingy, I have to admit, there's one thing I hated about last week's game, and it all but assured me that physical football is just dead. That doesn't exist anymore. That game showcased that physical football is a thing that doesn't exist. It's now more about trying to punch out footballs, trying to do fancy stuff. It's a finesse game now. It's not a physical game. And, it is what it is. At least we have one of the best players at doing that kind of stuff. Thank you, TJ Watt, for being an absolute monster. My closing thoughts on the offense, though, are going to be, we're going to see Russell Wilson. I'm almost sure about that. The offense is going to be the same old, boring offense it is. It's not going to turn the ball over, and at the end of the day, we're going to put up 17 points. That's what you're going to get from the offense. Clean sheet, 17 points. Laskers, you want to cash that or trash that?
If Russ starts, I will cash that in.
Gingy, you want to cash that or trash that?
Cash.
All right.
I just think
Let's get to the defense.
It's just the same as Justin Fields, just a little better.
A better passer, less of an
better
athlete.
passer. Yeah,
allegedly. I'm putting allegedly in air quotes here because if it's the rush from Denver, it's not a better passer.
I 100% agree with that.
If it's the Russ from 4 years ago in Seattle, yeah. If it's the Russ from the Denver treatment, no. Laskers, back to you. We already asked you this, so you should have a good response ready, right? Steelers, defense, 4 sacks, cash it or trash it. 4 or more. Not 4 exactly. That'd be rough for you.
I still don't have a good answer. I'm going to cash that in.
And they're all from TJ Watt. Gingy.
I'm not doing that one.
I'm just going to ask this every week because Gingy, I remember defending this guy so hard in the past. Gingy, Minka finally gets a turnover? Cash or trash?
I'm sick of picking cash and losing, man. Trash the Minka pick this week. Okay, maybe it'll spark him up. I think I picked cash on that, 2 or 3 times so far this year?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Every time I asked you.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm running out of faith on that. But maybe, like I said, maybe it'll prove me wrong. Maybe that's the spark.
All right, Laskers, we're getting into the nitty-gritty here on it. Oh, the Steelers, they've been pretty solid to stop at the run recently. The Jets are explosive, hit or miss. But the Steelers this week absolutely do their job. They hold the Jets under 100 yards rushing. Cash or trash?
I'm going to cash that one in.
All right. I like it. Let's go to Gingy on the next one. Gingy, who should be the playmaker this week? Let's go the defensive line. The defensive line is going to account for 2 or more sacks against a weak New York Jets front. And the defensive line, of course, excludes outside linebackers.
Cash. 2
Fair
or
enough.
more. Also leading into Laskers, I believe 4 or more.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think that'll do it.
All right, Laskers, you get the last one. Aaron Rodgers accounts for 2 or more turnovers in this game. Cash or trash?
I'm going to cash that one in. He didn't look that good against the Bills.
No, he certainly did not. Let's go ahead and hear your closing thoughts about the Steelers on defense. We'll start with Gingy.
Can't have silly plays. Aaron Rodgers is a wily old vet. Can't get drawn off sides. Can't get caught lacking over the middle. Really have to stay diligent and disciplined underneath. Would love to see another good game from Patrick Queen. I was surprised there wasn't any cashes or trashes being proposed about him this week, Donkey.
I finally got him off the damn board by bringing it up every week, dude. I don't have to bring it up again because he finally got off the damn board. Minka's currently the one stuck on the board, just so we're clear.
Yeah, but that's where the defense is at. I hope we can minimize the silly mistakes, no bad penalties, pressure the quarterback, and try to limit the Rodgers-Devontae connection, the big plays. We didn't talk much about the running game stop, though, too, right?
I brought up the running game.
There's no running game. There's no running game. Rodgers in charge of that offense.
I asked Laskers if they would get 100 yards rushing or if we would shut them down. So we did touch it a little bit. But that's
Who
fair.
they got back there? Is that Brees?
Brees Hall and, oh my God, what's the other guy? The other guy's pretty explosive too. Allen something, I believe is his name. Give me 1 second. Braylon Allen. See, I knew there was Allen something in there. Braylon Allen, he averages about 4.5 yards a carry. Brees Hall's at about 3.7. But Brees Hall's that guy who had big game and then a 20-yard game. He definitely can't create his own hole, but he is fast. I'll give him that.
Here. Gotta stay him shut down.
Yep. All right, Laskers. Still have to do you, right?
Yep.
Closing thoughts on defense.
I'm predicting Highsmith's gonna have 1 sack. That's my defense.
I'd like him to get back in there and do that. All right. For the Steelers defense, the splash happens. There's going to be a couple turnovers by the Jets. And I'm going to completely give away what my score thought is here. I think the Steelers hold them to 14 points with a couple turnovers, a couple splash. And this time, when they get on the field to end the game on a Sunday nighter, they get the job done. Gingy, you want to cash that or trash that?
Aaron Rodgers for a pick is hard to bank on, but what if I said one fumble, one pick?
There could be fumbles.
Yeah.
It's just the Jets as total have a couple turnovers.
One fumble, one pick. A little tip ball over the middle goes in the wrong direction for the Jets, the great direction for the Steelers. But, yeah, I'll cash you in on that.
All right, Laskers, you want to cash that or trash that?
I'll cash it in.
Awesome. All right. So now we got to get to our picks for the week. Let's go ahead. Let's bring up the ratings. Both my kids are now at 12 and 11 and 4 and 2. Gingy with the perfect weeks up to 16 and 7. That's 4 and 2 in Steelers game. Lasker splitting the week going 8 and 15, 1 and 5 in Steelers games. Donkey also staying perfect on the week up to 14 and 9, 5 and 3 in Steelers games. Again, Gingy's just going to have... not 3 and 3, not 5 and 3. I can't read my own handwriting. I was like, we haven't played that many games, Donkey. Come on now, get with the program.
Donkey, just so you know, I'm gonna fuck with you on this week.
Gingy needs to fact check me again this week. All right, I needed the fact check. All right, I need like the presidential debate people here cover me on all of my bad facts. All right, this week, do we want to start with the Cincinnati-Cleveland game, and do we want to start with Laskers? Cincy going to Cleveland.
Oh, give me the Bongles.
Gingy.
Bongles.
Yeah, we're going to clean sweep that one. I believe Monday night is Baltimore going to Tampa Bay.
It is.
Gingy, who'd you like in that one?
You said that's a Monday night game?
It's a Monday night game. There's 2 of them this week. There's two Monday nighters, dude. You got Baltimore going to Tampa and the Chargers going to Arizona. Not that we care about the other one.
Maybe Baltimore.
Yeah, I'll take Baltimore too. Laskers.
Give me the Buccaneers. I gotta go against you guys. I gotta get some points.
That's not out of the realm.
It's hard for me to pick against my Bucs when they're playing so good.
I know it is, and that's why I'm surprised. So I'm going
Tampa Bay struggles at stopping the run, and
it's the run for me.
Lamar Jackson, dude.
It's the run for me. That's exactly why I picked it too. I hesitated. It smells like a trap. It smells like a trap.
Freaking good.
Prime time game.
Nervous. We got Sunday night as well for the AFC North. We got the Jets coming to Pittsburgh. I already told you what my score is. It's 17-14 Pittsburgh Steelers. And who should be my X factor in this week's game other than, we'll just say Russ Wilson holding the clean slate down is going to be mine. If we're curious, by the way, I forgot to say Madden's pick. Madden picks the Steelers to lose this week. Madden picked the game right last week. It is 5-1. Madden thinks we're going to lose 31-28 in a hell of a shootout for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what's
Sunday
going on
night.
there.
Did they have Russ playing or Fields?
Yeah,
or
Russ played the whole. So just so we're clear, Russ played the whole season when I simulated it in the new Madden before I lost the ability to play it. So before Fields was our starting quarterback for a little while. But I got Pittsburgh 17-14 with Russ as the X factor. Laskers, let's go to you.
All right, I got the Steelers 27-10 if Fields plays. If Wilson plays, I got the Jets 33-17.
Okay,
That's
so
why I said I'm gonna fuck with you.
I got a split pick here on Laskers. I'll allow it. Gingy.
Give me the Steelers 20-18. X Factor.
Oh, I gotta pick an X Factor, but go ahead, Gingy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. My bad,
Ooh,
Laskers.
X Factor is going to be Pickens.
Pickens, I like it. I can dig that. Laskers, back to you for your X factor.
100 yards. Sorry.
You already predicted his stats. We already talked to you about that. I gave you him in the cash or trash. I have good memory.
Okay.
My X Factor is gonna be Highsmith. I know I predicted 1 sack, but I think he can get 2.
Ooh.
And he sets the edge for the first time in his career
Oh.
against the run game. Let's go.
Ooh. I like all that.
Me too. That leads us to any closing little news articles or things you guys want to talk about before shoutouts.
My closing thing is it's amazing how fast Devontae Adams healed himself after he got out of the Oakland situation.
Out of the black hole. Vegas.
I guess. I was gonna. I actually.
You got to gamble on him now, Laskers.
I was actually gonna say Vegas. I was like, oh wait a second, they're Vegas now.
Did you any cool things you saw out there in the NFL?
Already starting this week. Thursday night game. Broncos just beating the brakes off the Saints. I didn't see that
poor
coming.
Saints. That poor Saints team is shorthanded, and
I
still
that
like
coming.
Spencer Rattler. But I told you guys this. I think that Broncos team is going to get sneaky good by the end of the year once that Bo Nix and Sean Payton relationship becomes really strong. I told you I loved that matchup of quarterback coach when they drafted him. Still think they drafted him way too high though.
Yep.
But let's get into shout-outs. Let's go to Gingy. We won. You have to have one, right?
Of course I do. I mean, you already know who it is, right?
NYJ.
NYJ.
You're not stealing mine this week, though, because he's not mine.
That's fine. That's fine. I have one other one.
I
have one other one in mind, but I'll leave you to it. Najee over 7 yards a carry. Doing efficient production, 14 carries, 7 yards a carry, 100+ yards. Superman touchdown. You were talking about the lack of physical.
Play touchdown, a run of over 20 for a touch. My God.
You were talking about everyone forgetting about physical football. I didn't see Najee forgetting about physical football last week. He was seeking out contact. He was lowering shoulders. I like it. Shout out Najee Harris. Please again. Show me more.
For sure. Laskers.
I got 2, but I also got to counter Gingy's. When you're playing for a contract, you got to lower your shoulder. If you don't, then...
Well, he hadn't done it for the first 5 weeks.
I know, but if you don't do it now, you're not getting a contract.
Yes.
Anyhow, what the hell was my first one? I got sidetracked.
That's how this show works.
I got it. Justin Fields, two freaking rushing touchdowns. Hey, you're a mobile guy. That's why I still think you should be our quarterback. You're not there on the quarterback side of it, but hey, you run the ball well. And my other one is not related to football, but shout out to the Tampa Bay Rays trying to figure out how the hell they're going to play this season. And the interesting thing is, one of the things I heard is maybe the Oakland Coliseum as a place that they're going to play, because it's the only place that is open, really.
Why the heck would you play in that crap hole? Just
Hey,
know you're going to get rain delays. Fix Tropicana Field without the roof. Know you're going to get rain delays. And if you can't,
you can't.
dude, do you know how
You
close
can't.
Tampa? I understand. Would they need a? They don't need a full capacity stadium. They don't get it anyway. Bradenton's
No.
right there. Pittsburgh has a great little spot in Bradenton that you could work out where every time the Marauders are there, you don't have home games. Just saying, they could go right to Bradenton, and that is a great little park.
Donkey, you know what I'd love if they went and split with the Pirates, but the problem with you can't play at Tropicana is there's no freaking drainage there. So as soon as it rains, that field's done.
That's why I'm saying have Bradenton as your backup ready to go if you don't get it. And it's, it is what it is. Hurricanes suck. They mess things up. But when you there, they should have a thing. And going cross country doesn't make sense. There's so many spring training parks.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. There's so many spring training
parks, and it's not like Tampa Bay's a huge fan draw. Just put it in one of the spring training parks. Come on now. And for all the Yankee fans who are upset, go ahead and play the extra home games in New York and just raise the home team at New York for a little while. It'll be okay. My shout out, and I know no one's going to steal this, was, man, one of my favorite Steelers moments was some no-name backup linebacker going balls to the wall to meet Derrick Henry in the hole and stop him at the 1-yard line. Dude, just seeing Bobby Spillane again playing football, it puts a smile on my face, whether or not I think he's a great player, because every time that play comes to my mind. And shout out to Bobby Spillane for having one of my favorite Pittsburgh Steeler moments. Even though he's a Vegas
Here.
bad tier. He's like he's like the dirty red of my heart, Gingy. I know you have a special spot for Matakavich, so he's like my version of that.
I hear you shouting out a Raiders kind of mid though, but I'll let it slide.
And that means, I guess it's time we gotta let you know that I am the Viking Donkey. It's Viking_Donkey at Twitch and Twitter. Your daily dose donkey with Ginger. It's a fun YouTube channel where you get all this content. Be sure to listen to the Budcap. He did really good breaking down the plays this week. Had the best breakdown of the block punt that we lost due to an audio problem. But he gave a very similar take to what he said the first time, the fourth time we recorded it and it actually saved. But go listen to that. Bug's doing great. Bug's breaking down plays, and we're going to have him do more and more. And he's getting energetic with it, having fun with it. So make sure you listen to that content. Make sure you tune into this content. Make sure you leave us your picks. Tell us how good you're doing at AFC North. Pick 'em. And, of course, I got to let you know. Laskers, where can they find you?
I'm Laskers everywhere. I will not be on next week, but I will make sure to give Donkey my picks. And to the Gingy.
Mute Gigi in the house. We talking football. We hanging out. Oh my goodness, Steelers fans, 30 points. Prime time game headed in this week. Can we get another 30 more under the lights? Here we go, Steelers. Wave them if you got them.